Today for Devotions with Daniella, we are reading True Tales of Misery, Betrayal, and Abuse, 12-Step Horror Stories. This is Lanny, Harmony Home, Treatment Center, Punishment for Drunks. When I had been sober in AA for 2 or 3 years, I used to go with friends to the nearby treatment center to visit and sponsor some of the clients in AA. The center, besides taking private paying clients, was also county founded. Folks were sent there to undergo alcohol and addiction treatment in lieu of jail, and homeless folks and the poor were charged nominal fees that could be paid off over time. After a while, I became so disillusioned with the treatment given there that I began to call the center Hard Heart Home. Whenever treatment centers are criticized, AA members will often make the excuse that treatment centers are not AA, and treatment centers give AA a bad name. Pretty sure AA gives AA a bad name. I didn't see much difference between AA and Harmony Home. The clients were required to go to AA meetings. They were bused to meetings. They were picked up and driven by sponsors to AA and NA meetings. And one of the biggest meetings in town was held right there at Harmony Home every Sunday night. In addition, clients were encouraged, and some required, to work the first 5 steps of the 12-step program before leaving the center. And AA and NA literature was distributed at the center. And if all that wasn't enough, every single counselor who worked at Harmony Home was an AA or NA member. Officially, they are supposed to be anonymous. I knew they were members, however, and so did everyone else, because we saw them at meetings all the time. Anonymity. Why is it so hard to get statistics on how many certified alcohol drug counselors who work in publicly funded detoxes and treatment centers are also AA or NA members? Because of anonymity, even states and counties that employ these people do not keep track of AA/NA affiliation. The counselors at Harmony Home, this is called weaponized secrecy, by the way, and many cults do it. In fact, probably all of them. The counselors at Harmony Home happen to be among my least favorite AA members. I have never particularly liked most alcohol drug counselors, although today a couple of my best friends are such counselors. But it seems like the meanest, bossiest, most demanding, angry, and verbally abusive people in AA often gravitate toward this kind of career. I realize that this statement can be supported only by anecdotal evidence, and 1,000 alcohol drug counselors will probably complain about what's listed here. But listen to this roster of the counselors at Harmony Home. P. Jane. She was the director of Harmony Home during part of the time I visited and sponsored women there. Jane's fashion style at AA meetings, as a university town AA woman with good recovery, was loose, unstyled hair, either tennies or plain leather sandals with pants or shorts, and no makeup on an unsmiling, serious face. During Jane's reign as the director of the center, an especially strict rule against sex was enforced, and when people start telling consenting adults who they shouldn't be having sex with, it usually gets pretty culty. One day, while visiting with my sponsee, Darcy, at Harmony Home, I noticed she would not talk to men. Later, I found out why. She had been caught by other clients having sex with one of her male visitors. Clients were encouraged to snitch on one another, and Darcy's violation was quickly brought to the attention of P. Jane. Jane invited everyone else into the office to hear about what Darcy did and to decide what Darcy's punishment should be. The group decided that Darcy would not be allowed to talk to any men, visitors or clients, or men at meetings for a week. Darcy had been sent into treatment by the courts. If she didn't like it, she could leave and go to jail. The no-talk punishment was dealt out for other offenses and could be more severe, with no talk to anyone at all except AA sponsors and counselors. And in Children of God, the religious Schmeck's cult that's considered one of the most extreme in the world, we had this too, and it was called silence restriction, and it was used even on very young children. And for this kind of walking around shunning, they usually have to let other people know because we lived with so many people in such big organizations. And so they would make us wear these signs that say things like, "Don't talk to me, I'm disrespectful." Anyway, now I sell that on a t-shirt. No talk to anyone except AA sponsors, but Darcy's ban was particularly humiliating. Holy Scarlet Letter, I said to some of my friends. I wondered how these kinds of punishments fit in with any scientific view of alcoholism/addiction treatment. But such punishments were accepted at Harmony Home and still are in the other unmonitored little kingdoms that counselors like Jane reign in. Besides the incidents at Harmony Home, P. Jane showed other evidence of being, if not emotionally ill, at least a total jerk. It is quite possible that the 12-step world was the only world in which she was accepted. When I first met her as a newcomer, I had liked what she said at a meeting and went up to greet her and introduce myself. She totally snubbed me. She looked at me like I was a small turd. I get along with almost all people and could only think, and not until much later, that she would not speak to me because I wore a dress and makeup. My hair was long and curled, and I smiled. Some AA women think that smiling and being nice to someone is people-pleasing, a behavior condemned in the recovery subculture. Where I lived, many women in AA rarely smiled, and in the groups I spent most of my time in, wearing makeup and trying to look nice was also suspect. This is true also in the military or many places where we want to control women, like the children of God. Often you will hear women with years sober boast that, as pitiful newcomers barely sober, they took great pains to look great on the outside. Other women will nod understandingly as the speaker adds, but I felt rotten on the inside. In AA, feeling bad means that you do not have good recovery. It is the sign of not having a program or not working it. At some meetings, maybe because of this kind of socialization, it is popular for women to look unmade up, perhaps even unkempt. It shows that you value your sobriety more than how you look outwardly. Appearance control is always about behavior control, folks, always. And people love to say there's no appearance control in AA. Love it. Back to P. Jane. This woman in charge of many newcomers sounded very good at meetings, but she did not like newcomers. I heard her say that in a meeting while I was a newcomer. She was being rigorously honest, according to AA principles, but I was still new enough to think of it as rudeness. I had problems with many people in AA because of this confusion between rigorous honesty or tough love and just plain rudeness. Many of the statements one hears in the AA community, which are taken as wisdom, are actually nothing but rudeness or even hostility. For example, take the popular AA thought-stopping cliche, "Keep it simple, stupid." Can any thinking person not find that cliche offensive? AAs repeat that slogan all the time, as well as others, like, "Take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth," which means nothing. And if you point a finger, you've got three pointing back at you. These churlish sayings, which tend to discourage folks from critical thinking, and especially from voicing critical thoughts, are considered wisdom in the step groups. And by the way, you know how you know you have a closed system? When people use the same terminology all of the times. This is why distinguishable vernacular is one of the big signs of a cult. Jane, queen of such churl in meetings and at Harmony Home, let it be known that she was an attorney. I soon realized, however, that she had never worked as an attorney while sober. I wondered why not. Being the director of Harmony Home, while a position of power in the 12-step community, did not pay well. And the money P. Jane had not been used to pay rent because for a while she had no place to live. She house sat for friends on extended vacations and stored her furniture for free in the garages of other AAs. Free labor. One woman complained to me that Jane had used her small garage for free storage for 2 years. She asked Jane to come and get the stuff because she needed the space, but Jane acted angry and wouldn't pick up the stuff. I said, "Jane's an asshole. Tell her to come and get it or you're putting it on the street." My friend was quite taken aback with my bluntness. It is very rare in 12-step culture to criticize anyone with time. That's their leadership hierarchy, by the way, time sober. That's why so many of the old-timers get away with incredible screwings. But my hypothesis on P. Jane is mental illness. She lived and acted like a mentally ill or personality disordered person. But the social structure in the 12-step world is such that mental illness is not easily acknowledged in any cult, by the way. People who are controlling and who avidly seek power over others are often thought of as tough sponsors which some newcomers are said to need. We'll continue.